Hey guys, so I told you the eye contact would be here. I just came from TikTok, pardon the bounce. So we've got some pretty intense astrology happening here. Let me just adjust the camera. So we've got some pretty intense astrology happening for August 13th, 14th, and 15th. It starts off with Friday morning Pacific time. Okay. We've got the moon square Pluto. The moon is in Libra. And remember, Libra isn't just about pleasantries. Libra is also about social justice. It's about weighing and measuring. It's about fairness. And when it butts up against Pluto and Capricorn, it's a bit explosive. I think we're going to see some infrastructure failures. I think we're going to see some wild weather. We've got Mercury in Virgo now, so think roads, traffic, with Virgo, Venus, and Virgo Mars as well. This is, Venus is still trine Pluto. So if there is something to do with the Earth, and I'm thinking more sinkholes or landslides with this, they're going to be rather spectacular. And you can look over at Colorado. They've had multiple highways shut down. These have been during some aspects to the Virgo planets and to Pluto. So get ready for some of that. Remember, I told you to get ready for October. We've got supply chain issues coming up. We're starting to notice this already. Nothing happens out of the blue. It happens out of the oblivious. These transits just don't make stuff happen. It's where shocks our attention to what has been brewing. None of this is coming out of the blue. None of this. It's just whether people have been paying attention or not. The cosmic clock is marking time of when people en masse become conscious or when there is a physical event happening. When we're talking about mundane astrology and astrological alerts, what we're talking about are physical or political, social happenings. We're definitely going to be seeing more COVID numbers. It's just going to get worse because people didn't mitigate in time. And by October, it's not looking good. Okay. So what we have, we're getting ready for more energy shifts. It's kind of like the universe is just going to keep cranking it up until people pay attention. And we're talking about climate change. We're talking about the pandemic. We're talking about making sure there's social good involved, like what's happening for the social versus the individual. And that's what's up on deck tomorrow. So those who are pushing for individualism, rugged individualism, are going to be met with heavy resistance from people who are more socially aware. There's going to be a lot of anger about things happening. You're going to see it like right away. We're going to wake up to that news. The moon doesn't move into Scorpio until 5 p.m. Pacific. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. Pacific time, for those of you not in the United States, Pacific time is -7 GMT. Okay. So I just don't have the time to do all the calculations for every time zone. I'm an active consulting astrologer. So I spend most of my day reading charts for people. And again, if you want to book a chart with me, a chart reading at multiple, you can check the links and descriptions below. Big thanks to my patrons on Patreon. Sorry, I just knocked my table, which is cattywampus. Big thanks to my patrons on Patreon. Without them, none of this happens. So thanks to everybody in Discord for the conversations we're having. All of my patrons, regardless of level, get access to Discord. This is where we have actual conversations. We communicate, collaborate, and play. Why? Because we are in massive systemic change and people need to be able to connect with other people in meaningful ways and share resources and information. And we've already helped people be able to get their kids into virtual school when districts were hesitant. We've already been able to help people like plan if they're going to be somewhere that's going to have inclement weather this winter. So we do actually I believe in applied astrology where we do practical things with it. We're not just going like, oh, like, am I going to be confident this week? No, we actually literally talk about things that matter. Okay. Just for my fans on TikTok, I'm live streaming on YouTube here, and you're welcome to come over here. Let's see. So there we go. So that's Friday morning. Friday morning is the moon square Pluto, and it's always very, very volatile energy. I don't think enough astrologers pay attention to lunar transits. Lunar transits are the most causal because the moon is so close to the planet. It can act like a lens for all of the other activity. And we know human beings aren't always the most conscious. So expect people to be cranky, to be touchy, to be a little codependent. Codependency is going to be super magnified with this transit. I've already seen I've had some reports from people over the, because the moon's been in Libra since yesterday. And I had a very worried call from someone I'm very close to who's having some relationship issues, and it's due to the moon in Libra. And it's brought that to the surface. I mean, it didn't cause a problem. That problem existed in the relationship, and I already knew it. But now it's up to the surface. Remember, they kind of mark the time where we become aware of things, and that's super important to remember. So we wake up tomorrow morning with the moon square Pluto. Like right now, as I speak, the moon is already in square to Pluto. It's approaching square. The moon is at 19 degrees Libra, and it's heading towards Pluto and Capricorn at 24 degrees. Tomorrow morning, let's see. Tomorrow morning, let's say at 8 a.m. Pacific, that's 11 a.m. Eastern. Oh, sorry, I was looking at Saturday. Yeah. What day is it? Oh, I put today. I put this morning. Let's put tomorrow. Friday the 13th, Lori. Can you tell I've been reading charts all day? All right. So tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, that's 8 a.m. on the dot. The moon is exactly square Pluto. And the moon is square Pluto. Sorry, Mars is still square the north node of the moon. That's also, if you've been feeling crunchy this week, a lot of that has been the Mars square the node too, the north node of the moon. That's crunchy. We've got Mercury in Virgo. So if you've been feeling like Mercury is retrograde, Mercury is in Virgo. So when Mercury is in Gemini, which was the last Mercury retrograde, it actually operated like Mercury in Virgo. So it's more like you have to refine things, revise things. You can't just run straight ahead. You got to think before you act. You've got to use your perceptions. You've got to use your skills. There's nothing wrong with Mercury in Virgo at all. Mercury rules Virgo as well. So again, when Mercury in Gemini is retrograde, it acts more like a Mercury in Virgo. And that's why people are like, is Mercury retrograde? No, it's in Virgo. So with some of this action, I expect there to be real problems with roads, real problems with traffic, especially with the moon square Pluto at 8 a.m. Pacific, which means there's going to be probably some midday kerfuffle on the East Coast, because then that's 11 a.m. Eastern. So there's going to be some kerfuffle there. There might be some violence that happens that comes into the news. And again, you always have a choice on how you deal with this energy. You always have a choice with how you deal with this energy. That's why you want to work with your consciousness. If you find you're being reactive, if you're about ready to blame somebody for how they're making you feel, think again, how you feel is up to you. They may be doing something you don't like, but how you feel about it is up to you. And I'm not telling you got to be yippee skippy okay with it, but if you're expecting them to make your day good, you're putting the power in the wrong person's hands. It's up to you to make your day good. Now, if they're cantankerous and hard to deal with, don't deal with them. Like, Don't try to make it okay. Just decide what you're going to do. Take your ball and go home. You know, and it doesn't, I'm not talking about necessarily relationships. It could just be work environments. If you're in customer service, God help you tomorrow, because people are just going to be cranky. The moon ingresses into Scorpio. The moon ingresses into Scorpio at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm not expecting that to be a big blast. Okay. I think we're already going to be, I think we're going to kind of be ready to cave up. We're going to be like, okay, I'm going to put the blankets over my head. I'm going to make a pillow fort. I think that's how most people are going to feel by the end of the day, because that moon is squaring all day long. But as the moon moves forward, remember, the moon moves a degree every 2.5 hours or so. So as it's about 2 hours, but as the moon gets closer to squaring off with Saturn, like, people are just going to be D-O-N-E, put a fork in them, done. Okay, so it is a really great time to do self-care, use your self-awareness. It's really super important. You really, really want to, really pay attention to your own reactivity. And if you're feeling mad, there's nothing wrong with feeling mad. Okay, if you've got old rage coming up, this might be a great time to clear it. And it's where you put it. Okay, so if you're projecting it onto other people who have nothing to do with the trigger at hand, that's not healthy. Okay, so it's good, you know, run, take a bath, go get some alone time, but kind of like stirring stuff up because there's a trigger going on. It's not going to reduce your stress levels. And I know what that's like. I used to have CPTSD. I know how that loop and that cycle goes. And you feel awful. You feel awful during it. You feel awful at the time. It's hard to know that you can deal with it. I get it. I really, really do. So just know that if you are triggerable, it's a time to be really, really conscious of that and just go have some you time. Okay. Because it's not going to go well. You're not going to get the resolution you're looking for. Now, if you're not dealing with that kind of mental wellness issue, then it's a great time to be creative. Okay, you might get epiphanies. Squares are creative aspects. It's a really great time to make things. It's a really great time to do things. If you're an artist, if you're a writer, if you're a producer of any kind of work, it's a great time to kind of map things out and let that creative burst of energy just flow through. Squares can be great for that. Collectively, there's probably going to be some crazy weather form overnight. And I feel like things are going to be very incendiary. So the West Coast being very dry, dealing with really big fires, aren't going to go out. Not yet. And so that's going on. Let's see, what else have we got going on here? Into the 14th. So now we're moving to Saturday. So that's just Friday. It is not Friday the 13th causing it. Okay, Friday the 13th is not bad luck. That's a Hollywood thing. Hollywood has done so much damage to spirituality and the occult. That's all I'm saying, is they've misrepresented almost everything. So let's take a look at the 14th. I don't know. Okay, so I've got my TikTok on and I'm going live at the same time. And let me tell you, there's these people who keep trying to like duet with me. And I'm like, I don't even know them. So that's my Scorpio rising. It's a really good time to get the boundaries up, guys. If you don't have your boundaries up, it's a good time to have them up, because people are going to be breaching the boundaries. Let me move this back a little. Oops, there we go. There we go. So people are going to be attempting to breach boundaries. You want to hold your boundaries firmly in place. No is a complete sentence. Remember that. And yeah, that might cause some people to blow up. If they blow up, they're not worth having around. Okay. So let's take a look. The hair. Einstein didn't have to comb his hair, so I don't have to. Okay, let's see. So by morning, again, by 8 a.m. Pacific, Saturday morning, we've got the moon square Saturn firmly, okay, and moving into opposition with Uranus. It'll be opposed by on the approach. That's really, really, really strong energy. Do be aware there may be seismic activity. I don't think it's going to be the big one. That Saturn retrograde has really been helping us out on land. Even the big Alaska quake, it did a big rumble, but it was offshore. It certainly did a lot of movement. It's kind of a signal of what's to come later down the line. But if you're on the contiguous, part of the United States on the West Coast, there might be some seismic activity. I'll be writing that up on Patreon for the Scorpio moon. Let's see, what else have we got here? It's a really busy weekend is all I have to say. So the morning is going to be contentious. If you have just the stress is going to move through. We're building towards that full moon on the 22nd. And Uranus is going to be going retrograde on the 20th. So before that full moon, we have Uranus moving into Aquarius, or not into Aquarius, sorry. Uranus retrogrades in Taurus on the 20th. The full moon is at 29 degrees Aquarius. This is significant because Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. So that's a lot of action. It's about liberation. It's about disruption. And we mean disruption in a lot of ways. There's the actual disruption. It could be electricity. It could be tech. It could be cell phones. It could just be internet outages. It could be a lot of things. And it can be disruptive ideas. So think startup technology, it disrupts the marketplace. It changes the marketplace. We may see some economic announcements. We may see cryptocurrencies starting to shoot up. They've been down for a while. They may come up. They could also take a nosedive. So it'll be really fascinating to see which way that energy goes. But so far, what I've been seeing is on the squares and oppositions, these things have been going up. We'll see what happens when Uranus stations retrograde in Taurus. We may see the stability fall there, but that might also happen in other currencies and other markets. So we've got a lot of things kind of rocky heading into that next full moon. This is part of clearing the path. We are in a time of massive systemic change. I've been writing about it on my blog at Woke Astrology since 2020. I've been warning about this as a business coach for over a decade. Instead of coming out as an astrologer, I spoke in everyday English saying, if you don't innovate your host, well, start innovating. You still have some time. These retrograde planets that we have, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto retrograde, are giving us time to get our stuff together before October. When they go direct, is really going to move fast. It's just really, we're going to see things tumble along, and the fall looks contentious. I don't want you to be scared. I want you to be prepared. Human beings are very, very adaptable. Okay. Human beings are very, very adaptable. And it's really important that you start assessing your skills. That's one of the things we talk about in Patreon, in our Discord all the time, is helping people kind of prepare and get ready for this. This is not coming out of the blue. Pay attention. Go through your local drive-through. How much are they out of? Go to your local restaurant. How many things are they out of? Go to the grocery store. Notice the aisles, they're stocked, but of what? Okay. This isn't coming out of the blue, and it's okay to intellectualize astrology, but astrology has and always will be used for monitoring the weather, for monitoring what's going on. It's not causal. It's a cosmic clock that we can see how the world is working, how our relationship to the world is working. Nothing comes out of the blue. It comes out of the oblivious. So it's not about being scared. It's about being prepared. That's why you watch the weather forecast, okay? We do have to watch out for tropical storms. So things are going to start to form. We're going to have some really weird weather over the weekend. Not so much where I live, but certainly on the East Coast and in the Gulf, you want to be paying attention. I haven't really looked at the weather forecast, but this is just screaming crazy weather to me, especially through the Midwest, the Southeast, the Southwest. It's going to be very interesting weather. Why am I telling you this? I want you to be prepared, for heaven's sake. Do you want to be surprised by it? I don't like surprises. I'm a Scorpio rising. Okay, so I live with this energy too. I don't like being surprised. I like practical application of astrology. It's very, very useful. That's why I still do readings. I could just automate a whole bunch of stuff and never have to do a reading again. I love doing natal readings. I love reading people's transits, helping you plan, helping you prepare, because we need good people in good positions as we go forward and things around us change rapidly. So there is that. Let's take a look into Sunday. By the way, I use the app. You keep seeing me pull my phone out. I'm using the app Celeste 1.2. If you don't know how to just read a chart, here, I'll show you here on my phone. See, it's by Astrology. I just use that. If you don't know how to read a chart for transits, if you don't know how to interpret, time passages is my favorite. Stay away from CoStar. I think it's shitty astrology. I don't care what calculations they're using. It's bad astrology. So I like time passages. It's a much more solid interpretation. But remember, all computer interpretation doesn't take account into the individual expression of the energy. That's why professional astrologers are good to go to, but not everybody can do it. So use the apps. Let's take a look. 15th. That's why I write the rising sign horoscopes. I try to make them as practical as possible and with a kind of a strategy for using the energy to your best advantage. I kind of give you a little heads up of what might be happening and then how to move through. And we call it surfing the cosmic wave. That's my dog itching because it's summer. And we just did a clip and he's just like, ah. So let's see. So we start the day. We start the day on the 15th with Venus at 29 degrees Virgo. We're probably going to get some more bad news about COVID on that day as Venus gets ready to ingress on the 16th into Libra. I'm actually looking forward to that transit because the Venus at 0 degrees Libra will conjunct my Uranus and my Jupiter in my natal chart, which is kind of fun because they're conjunct at 0 degrees. So if I'm a little sassy, guys, on that day, on the 16th, that's why. But on the 15th, whenever you have a planet sitting at 29 degrees, there's a lot of energy because it's about to move. And it doesn't matter which planet. It's still technically in opposition to Neptune. It's in a separating opposition. We could see something happen at sea. We could see things happen with oil and gas. It's not good news. We could see more pollution happening. So think that vector 3 might have issues. Hopefully, from a social justice point, it gets delayed or something. That would be good news, but it could also be pollution, which would be bad news. So it's always hard to tell directly, but we'll definitely see things to deal with oil and gas or commodities. That kind of information will come out on Sunday. So if you watch shows like Meet the Press, but keep your eye on TikTok because honestly, social media is probably where you get the best news in general. You get misinformation too, but use your discernment. Okay, we've got Mercury in Virgo. It's a time for discernment. It's really much easier to tell the BS right now. So we've got, and Mars, she sighs. Oh, Mars is trine Uranus starting Sunday as well. It's in an approaching trine. So that's more land issues. That's more economy issues. That's more health issues. We're just going to watch COVID grow at this point. We didn't mitigate fast enough. Too many people were slow on their feet. There was a lot of misinformation going around. It's been unfortunate. So just as I've been saying since May 1st, if you're a patron, you know I've been saying it. I've got it in writing. May 1st of 2021, I was like, whatever you do, don't stop wearing your mask. Because Jupiter in Pisces rules viruses and airborne diseases, lung diseases, and it was magnifying that. So, yes, it's a beneficent planet. However, it's beneficent towards all life. So it really helped out the virus. We're going to see more stuff go on. I'd love to be able to give a whole lot better news for this weekend. It's not always good news. It's not always fun to report the astrological weather. I don't make it happen. I just report it. Now, again, on a personal level, if you bring your attention in and you do what you can do, if you stop projecting outside of yourself and really, while the moon is in Libra, this is the time to do it. Bring it back in. Understand what if you're in your truth, you don't need other people to agree with you. I get asked all the time, what do you do when people don't believe in astrology? And I'm like, I don't care. I'm not here to talk to them. I'm here to talk to the people who want to know more about astrology. And I hope you don't believe in astrology. It's not a religion. It's a thing. It's a field of study. It's got millennia of observation and correlation. Okay. And if you study it that way, that makes sense. So that's something really, really important to remember. But I'm not here to evangelize. We've had a lot of people leave traditional religions. We've had a lot of people leave evangelicalism, and they're kind of bringing that into the spirituality movement, where they want to testify and they want to evangelize. You know what? Spirituality has nothing to do with that. People don't hold your truth. They don't hold your truth. You don't need them to agree with you. If you're in your truth, you're solid in your truth. Remember that with Venus in opposition to Neptune. If you're in your truth, you're just in your truth. That's all that matters. You don't need anybody else to see your point of view. You don't need anybody else to agree with you. Why would you put energy out that way? It's going to deplete you. Okay? So these are all really, really important things to remember, especially over this weekend. If you can hang on to your agency, if you can hang on to your own power and not hand it away. Okay? And you're not letting go of your power when you wear a freaking mask. Okay? That's actually taking care of your freaking body. Okay? There's science involved in that. It works. It's not an infringement of your freedoms. You wear shoes, you wear shirts. Come on. God, it really annoys me to hear people complaining about that when I had to wear a dress code at work. That meant I couldn't even wear slacks to work when I was in high school. I had to wear pantyhose and heels. You had to have a minimum of an inch heel. You couldn't wear flats. And people are complaining about wearing a mask. I tell you, it's a bunch of whiners. Wear a mask. Wear two. Because things are going to escalate as we move into the fall. Okay? It's just pay attention to the doctors, the nurses, and the scientists who are begging people to pay attention. For God's sake, look at their eyes. They're suffering. And we're going to have some really crazy news in October and November. And we're not going to see a shutdown until maybe Thanksgiving time. Because they're just going to resist it. And if it were up to me, looking at the astrology going forward, we'd be locked down now. So just wash your hands, use your PPE, and take care, But this weekend, you're going to hear a lot of crazy news I wouldn't want to be in super crowded spaces anyway because of COVID. I think we've got some super spreader events still happening around. God help them. You know, so watch out for things like electrical outages. We might see transformers go. It might be due to lightning. Again, there's going to be crazy weather over the weekend. Just be safe, guys. So that's it. That's my astrology alert. You can find more information by reading the description below on YouTube. If you're on TikTok, you can hit the link in my bio. I'm going to end the broadcast here on YouTube, and I will be seeing you later. Thank you to my patrons. By the way, thanks to Aries Wellness. We'll say that's their packaging. Although I would say with this color scheme, it's much more Taurus-like. They sent me these, and I said I don't normally do well with these kind of wellness gummies, which are CBD. I don't tend to do well with them. They tend to put my brain in a straitjacket. And so I said, if they don't put my brain in a straitjacket and my neck isn't sore afterwards, and I'm not kind of like grouchy, because the last time I tried something like this, it made me really grouchy, unusually. Anyway, these did not. So, and I told them I wouldn't promote it if it wasn't good. So I've had two tonight. My neck is nice and loose. It was really tense before I took them. I'm feeling really good. So you'll find the link below on YouTube, and there's a special 20% off discount from me to you. And they are actually really nice people too. One of the reasons I agreed to do this, and I don't always agree, I've had other people reach out to me to promote things. And I'm like, if they're just like, hey, sell my stuff, I'm like, no. But they were really nice. And so as a Libra moon, I'm just going to say they were really pleasant, really nice, and they reached out. And so I'm like, okay, I like you. Okay, I'll do it. So I never promote anything I don't try. I never promote anything I don't like. And if it didn't work for me, I would absolutely let you know. And again, I took one right before this. I took one like an hour before. I wanted to see what's going on. No grouchies, which is really good. Because my friend Kirsten can tell you all about the time I tried some, and it made me very, very grouchy. And I was like, oh, I don't like this. It's making me grouchy. Oh, my brain feels like it's in a straitjacket. I don't like this. And so I did not have to go to my tried and true antidote, which happens to be bourbon. But I did not need to do that because this did not loop me, and it also did not make my brain go. So I'm going to take maybe 2 before I go to bed. I don't know. So anyway, I'm going to shut down the broadcast here on YouTube. I'm going to keep streaming on TikTok. Thank you so much. You can find all my links by clicking the link in my bio. And I look forward to doing more live streams here on YouTube and more video content. Eventually, we'll get the whole studio set up right. But bear with me until then.